is writing a slasher film. I love slasher films. I mean, I grew up on them. No BS. The original Child's Play from 1988. I saw that movie when I was 2 years old. Literally my introduction to horror. And you know what? I love it. Great film. Now, with that being said, how do you want to write your own? One thing that you want to remember is when you're writing a slasher film, write for that middle. Because the middle is, especially in a slasher film, basically that's when your main cast starts getting killed one by one. In a horror movie in general, basically everyone, like if it's a ghost movie, they're thinking, okay, this is when the ghost is, people are starting to believe, yeah, the ghost is absolutely real. Slasher movie, watch Halloween about the midpoint. That's when Andy gets killed. Uh, watch the original Child's Play. That's when Karen finds out that Chucky's alive. Um, so yeah, um, there's also investigation in a slasher movie, and now investigation is tricky because I know The Exorcist is not a slasher film, but look at The Exorcist. There's a police investigation. Now, the police investigation can coincide, but it's usually a separate investigation, but it usually is brought on by the crime. So, like The Exorcist, for example, Kinderman is investigating this place, or excuse me, is investigating because of the Burke Denning murder. And but the investigation we're talking about is started by the protagonist, which would be Chris McNeil. And Chris McNeil is she's trying to figure out what the hell is happening with her daughter, like what's wrong with Reagan. That's the investigation I'm talking about. Just like in Child's Play, the investigation is, I mean, Detective Norris, obviously, yes, because Aunt Maggie's been killed. The real investigation actually starts, by Karen right after the midpoint, because now that she knows Chucky's alive, boom, now she wants to know how to stop him, find out more about him. So this is started by the protagonist. I was watching a video. I don't remember the fellow's name, but it was basically how to write a horror film. Good channel, you know, and I like to, use some of his elements. But yeah, man. Uh, trying to think if Halloween. I mean, Lori literally goes to one of the other houses towards the end to go investigate to see, you know, what everyone's up to. Uh, now, a slasher film will usually have a cold open, um, and it usually sets a tone for what kind of movie it'll be. Not all the time, but sometimes it's like the tragedy that sets everything up, like that's not related or connected anyhow. Like, think of Halloween. You're not related to the protagonist. This happened, when Michael kills Judith, that happened how long ago? 15 years? And Judith, or Lori at that time would have been 2 years old. And she doesn't get stalked until she's 17. So it's so far removed. And you can get creative with that. You can separate it with year through time based, whatever. Um, Again, anybody seen The Stepfather? That's another one with the investigation. Jill Sholin has her own investigation trying to find out more about her stepdad because she thinks he's weird. But there's also a brother of one of the victims that starts his own investigation that can usually be coincided, but this has to be brought on by the main protagonist. Now, they say every 10 minutes you need a scare in a good slasher movie. Yes, you do. However, um, like they said, you get a little leeway with that in the first act. So basically, this every 10 minutes because, you know, that cold open, like the opening kill on Halloween, uh, how how Chucky gets in the doll, uh, Pamela Voorhees killing the counselor, and your first act ain't gonna be that long anyway. But just know that's the only act you get the leeway in because you've started off, you know, establishing what kind of movie, you've had your opening scare. Now, when I say 10 minutes, it can be like an arbitrary number, like 9, 11 minutes, but around 10 minutes because you don't want to go much longer. Like a lot of people got bored with Halloween Ends. And again, if you want to break that rule, guys, of well, I don't want an opening kill. I want it to be what they call slow burn. There's been movies like that. I mean, absolutely. But know that, the opening kill, telling you what kind of film we're in for, why it works. It works because it's it helps with pacing because I mean let's take Halloween Ends for which to me Halloween Ends was like sixth in the franchise. I'd give it around a 6.5 rating, and it waited so long for Michael Myers that turned some people off. However, I also mentioned The Exorcist, and I think The Exorcist is a pretty slow burn movie. I also kind of think The Omen's a pretty slow burn movie. And The Exorcist is just like considered the scariest movie of all time by many, many people. So yeah, it doesn't need, but if I'm starting out, I would feel more comfortable including everything I've told you guys. Um, Now, Is there anything else? Make us care for the protagonist. There can be cathartic kills in your movie, absolutely, but and I know I'm sorry if you guys are getting sick of me mentioning Halloween and Child's Play, but the original Halloween, the regular Child's Play are like my number one and two favorite slasher movies, and probably movies, definitely horror movies of all time. Halloween, kind of slow burn, but you felt Michael's presence throughout. Uh, because he kind of feels like maybe he didn't do enough, or because uh, his kills, like you look at Child's Play and you look at Halloween, the opening kill and the mechanic is already dead, but like the first time you're actually, or excuse me, the second murder you're seeing on screen in Halloween is Annie's. You know what I mean? And you know Michael's killed two people by then with Judith and the mechanic. And then in Child's Play, I mean, first 20 minutes or so, he's got Chucky's gotten revenge on Eddie. He's killed Maggie. You know what I mean? So much faster pace. Chucky's done enough to where you can kill him at the end, and you feel good about it. It's cathartic. Michael Myers is still alive, still around. That's creepy, but I feel like it's because, in my opinion, and don't get mad, Michael hasn't done enough. And that's when you get into Halloween Ends because, folks, I got to tell you, I understand why some people were upset about Halloween Ends because Michael didn't do enough. He didn't show up long enough for people, and he looked weak. Um, when I watched Halloween 2018, I was ready for Michael to die. Absolutely. I'd have been happy for Karen. I'm happy for Lori. I'd have been happy for Allison. Absolutely. But, they're wanting you to feel happy for Lori, but the fight wasn't challenging enough, and we didn't see enough of Michael. Beats him too, and so it's taken away our enjoyment. Whereas in Child's Play, when Detective Norris cocks that gun and boom, blows Chucky away, blasts him back against the wall, it's cathartic. Halloween 2018, cathartic, because at the time, it seemingly seemed like we got rid of Michael Myers. Hot damn. And it was in a way that felt satisfying, didn't insult our intelligence, and made sense. So thank you, guys and girls, for watching. Have yourselves a great day.